She is risking national unity for herself, her power, and her party.
What we are working towards is a united Canada with respect for provincial constitutional sovereignty over our areas of jurisdiction.
Separatists the Premier is talking about are factions of her own party.
That's right.
All they do is they talk to their masters in Ottawa. First it was Jagmeet Singh, now it's Mark Carney, and they deign to tell Albertans what they should think and what they should feel. That's not who we are on this side of the House, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, we now know that the Premier's openness to a separatist referendum is all about one thing: holding on to her party leadership. It's not about demanding a better deal for Albertans. It's not about our economy and a better life for people. No, she said it herself, it's really about not splitting her political party. When it comes to Alberta separation, why is the Premier putting her political interests and her party ahead of what is best for all Albertans?
Hear, hear. The Honourable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, nothing could be further from the truth. I can tell you what we do not want in Alberta. We do not want an attitude of separation to set into the point where they are electing bloc Québécois members to the legislature or parti Québécois members as a permanent feature of government like they see in Quebec. This is the reason, Madam Speaker, that I am focused on negotiating with the new Prime Minister for greater sovereignty within a united Canada. That is what my mandate is, and that is what I will be focusing on. Those members opposite should not be urging on the creation of new parties that will permanently divide Albertans, and we certainly won't on this side.
Admits this is about not creating new political parties and splintering her power. She said, quote, "You can see there isn't an outlet. It creates a new party. In Quebec right now, the Parti Québécois is polling highest of the provincial parties, and we all see the Bloc won a significant number of seats," end quote. She is risking national unity for herself, her power, and her party. Mr. Speaker, why is the Premier dividing the country and our province just to avoid dividing her party?
That's right. The Honourable the Premier.
Sounds like the member opposite just said exactly what I said, is that we do not want a permanent feature of Alberta politics to be parties that send representatives to Ottawa whose sole purpose is to break up the country, or brand new political parties whose sole purpose is to take this province out of confederation. That is not the mandate of the United Conservative Party. What we are working towards is a united Canada with respect for provincial constitutional sovereignty over our areas of jurisdiction. That is what we have been fighting for from the moment we got founded. That's been what we've been fighting for through the legislation we've been putting forward, and it's what we're going to keep on fighting for.
The Leader of the Official Opposition.
The separatists the Premier is talking about are factions of her own party.
That's right.
And the action she is failing to take is to tell this faction of her own party that they are wrong.
That's right.
She is coddling Alberta separatists, securing the endorsements of Quebec politicians who try to block our pipelines, and failing to get good deals for Albertans. She's ripping up a century of treaty relationships with Indigenous people, all to hold on to her own divided party and political power. Will the Premier ever put Alberta first, ahead of the grievances of the separatists in her own flawed party?
That's right. Point of order noted at 1:55. The Honourable the Premier.
Come on, Madam Speaker. They never put Alberta first. All they do is they talk to their masters in Ottawa. First it was Jagmeet Singh, now it's Mark Carney, and they deign to tell Albertans what they should think and what they should feel. That's not who we are on this side of the House, Madam Speaker. We listen to Albertans, we take their concerns seriously, and then we take those concerns forward and we try to get the best deal for Alberta, putting Alberta's interests first. That is what our mandate is. That is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to continue to work with the Prime Minister so that we can find some kind of common ground to bring the temperature down so that not only can we benefit, but the entire country can benefit too.
The Honourable the Leader of the Official Opposition on her second set of questions.
Madam Speaker, what we've seen this government do is give contracts to friends and insiders at inflated prices. Taxpayer dollars involved in misspending, kickbacks, and corruption. They're concerned with chartered surgical facilities with bloated prices, unusable medication with 50 $50 million still missing. Useless PPE we're still paying to store in warehouses. Shady land deals that result in hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit. To be very clear, all of the above is related to Sam Raich's companies.
That's right.
Why hasn't Sam Raich's good friend and relative, the Minister of Justice, recused himself?
The Honourable Premier.
Madam Speaker, we believe in going through and finding out if there's any actual wrongdoing. Normally, you don't punish people because of allegations or statements of claim that have been filed with a $1.7 million price tag asking for a payout. What you do is you take a considered approach, you get all of the documents that you need, you ask the Auditor General, which we have done, to look at the information, and we've asked Judge Wyant to do the same. We don't have that much longer to wait, Madam Speaker. We will be getting a report by the end of June. I'm looking forward to that being shared publicly, and then we will get some answers.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
When it comes to the scandal, the Auditor General and his investigation are key. But to prevent his work, this government told staff they must speak to government lawyers before responding to his requests, something that is not normal or endorsed by him. When media reported it, the Premier said she had directed her Minister of Justice to check in with the AG to see if the government can solve any errors or maybe help any problems there. Does the Premier really believe that Sam Raich's good friend and relative is the best person to help solve problems when it comes to this investigation?
The Honourable Premier.
Madam Speaker, no one who has been named in the statement of claim has anything to do with the investigation. That is why a member of the Independent Civil Service, the Deputy Minister of Jobs Economy, is the person who hired the judge. It is why the Deputy Minister of Justice is coordinating to make sure the Auditor General gets everything he needs. It is why the Deputy Minister in Health, who has not been named in the statement of claim, is the person who is arranging interviews and helping to get the documents that the AG needs. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Justice has nothing to do with this.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Procurement to Sam Raich's companies, the Minister of Justice's good friend and relative, is at the heart of this.
That's right.
You know what would solve problems more than asking the Minister of Justice to look into it? If staff weren't under a gag order.
Yeah.
You know what would help solve problems? If the good friend and relative, the person at the heart of this, wasn't the one in charge of the investigation. A full public inquiry would be very helpful, Madam Speaker. Yesterday we heard in the House concerns have been raised about procurement for Grand Prairie and Beaver Lodge hospitals. When will the government stop blocking the Auditor General? Call a full public inquiry.
The Honourable Premier.
Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Premier.
Madam Speaker, the Auditor General can ask for any investigation he wants to into any matter. He can talk to any employee, current and former, at his discretion. No one is blocking anything, Madam Speaker. Our role is to facilitate access to the documents that the Auditor General needs. It is defined in legislation. It is an independent office of this legislature. They have the full cooperation on this side of the chamber, and we will make sure that that continues.